the craziest plane crash that turned survivors into cannibals. On October 13, 1972, an Uruguayan Air Force Fairchild FH-227D took off from Carrasco International Airport in Montevideo, Uruguay. The flight, carrying 45 passengers and crew, was headed to Santiago, Chile. The passengers were members of an Uruguayan rugby team, their friends, and family. As the plane crossed over the Andes Mountains, it encountered severe turbulence and low visibility. The pilots were forced to make a difficult decision, either turn back or continue through the treacherous weather conditions. They chose to continue, hoping that the weather would improve. But it didn't. As the plane continued, it suddenly crashed into the side of a mountain. The impact was catastrophic, killing several passengers instantly and severely injuring many others. The survivors were left stranded in the middle of the Andes with no food, water, or medical supplies. The initial shock and trauma of the crash quickly gave way to fear and desperation. The survivors realized they were completely alone, with no way of calling for help or receiving any rescue. Their only hope was to find a way to survive on their own. Over the next few days, the survivors struggled to stay alive. They rationed their meager food and water supply and tried to find ways to signal for help. They were stranded in a remote and unforgiving wilderness with little hope of survival. They were in a desperate situation with little hope of rescue. As the days turned into weeks, their meager food supply quickly ran out, and they were forced to make a difficult decision: either starve to death or find a way to survive. With no other options, the survivors turned to the only source of food available to them: the bodies of their deceased friends and loved ones. It was a decision that no one wanted to make, but necessary for their survival. They used metal from the wreckage to create makeshift cooking pots and tried to cook the meat to kill any potential pathogens. They even used broken wine bottles to drink the blood of their deceased companions as a source of iron and other vital nutrients. But despite the emotional and psychological toll that cannibalism took on the survivors, it was ultimately what allowed them to stay alive. And then, something incredible happened. One of the survivors, Nando Paradu, managed to find a way out of the mountains. He and another survivor, Roberto Canessa, hiked for 10 days through the snow and ice, risking their lives every step of the way. Finally, after an incredible journey of courage and determination, they stumbled upon a Chilean shepherd who was able to summon help. Over the next few weeks, rescue teams worked tirelessly to find the other survivors. They braved treacherous conditions and rugged terrain, determined to bring the stranded passengers home. And finally, after 72 days in the wilderness, the survivors were rescued and brought back to civilization. The story of Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571 is a story of tragedy and survival. It is a story that reminds us of the incredible strength and resilience of the human spirit and the power of hope and perseverance. Even in the darkest of times, we can rise to the challenge and find a way to overcome the most impossible of odds. The survivors of Flight 571 faced unimaginable hardships and difficulties. They lost friends and loved ones and endured incredible physical and emotional pain. But they never gave up hope and never stopped fighting for their survival. And in the end, their courage and determination saved their lives.